So when I was a kid, I always felt different than all the other kids in my school. I just felt like I thought differently than everyone else. At recess time on the playground, I was often by myself, just kind of walking around thinking. I was in my imagination a lot. And I was always very curious, always very kind of inquisitive. I was very into nature and animals and trees. And I don't know, I just felt a little bit like an outcast a little bit. And then when I was 9 or 10 years old, I had something happen to me that really kind of set in motion this deep, deep curiosity for life and reality. Basically, yeah, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I was at a sleepover at my buddy's house. He lived up the street from me, and there was probably like five of us boys there. And this was at like midnight. And all the other kids had fallen asleep, except for me and this one other boy. And we were just kind of laying in our sleeping bags next to each other, talking. And he said something that I'll never forget. And it was so profound, and so just deep and so crazy to hear at such a young age. He basically said that whatever you can't see is hell. He said, when you look at a tree, all you see is the side of the tree that's facing you. But on the other side of that tree is a portal to hell. It is essentially anti-life. It is anti-reality. And I didn't really know what to make of it at the time. I think I was just kind of like hearing him out. But that concept stuck with me forever. And I just became very curious about what reality was. Because as crazy as what he said sounds, there was some truth to it. And I was very open-minded, so I really thought about it, and I said, well, I don't know if I believe in the whole heaven and hell thing, but he's right. I can't see what's on the other side of objects in front of me. Take any object and hold it out in front of you. You can only see the side that's facing you. You can't see what's on the other side of that. And it just kind of like poked a major hole in this veil that I was living in. Just an incredibly profound moment for me that really kind of got me questioning a lot. And in the years after that, like when I was like a teenager and stuff, I would still think about what that kid said. And I would just always, I would look at the trees in the woods and I would say, yeah, what is on the other side of that tree? My mind assumes there is something on the other side of that tree, but how do I have any proof that there is? Because once I walk around to that other side of the tree, then I can't see the other side of the tree. If everything has two sides, how can I ever see what's on the other side of an object? And I just kind of like kept going down that path of really like wanting to know the truth of reality. Not assumptions, not beliefs. I wanted to know the truth. And when I got to college, I did a lot of this, way too much of that. And I was like, it was bad. It was almost every day that I was doing it. And I started to have like an actual like mental breakdown in college. This was my freshman year. And I got really bad anxiety. My hands would sweat all the time. I was always nervous. And what people don't know is that thing I was doing, that is a psychoactive drug. And it was really messing with my mind. And it was making me question everything. Like, I would just sit in my room after doing this, and I was just like, my mind would just flood with all these questions about life. Like, what is life? And what am I? And like, what is the point of doing anything? And I remember sitting at lunch with my friends in college, and I was going through this like breakdown where I was starting to question everything. And I tell them, like, why are we eating food right now? Like, why don't we just starve? Like, what is the point of eating food? Like, we're going to eat this food and then we're just going to have to eat more food later. Like, why do that? Like, why not just starve to death? Or why go to college right now? Why go to class right now? Why try to get a job? Why can't I just do nothing? Why can't I just go live out in the woods and be homeless? Or why can't I just swim out into the ocean and drown or something? You know, I just couldn't make sense of like why I was doing anything. Like, I was just like, there's no point to this. And it was bad, man. I had to go to a therapist. I had to, it was rough, man. It was just a rough period. And I remember that summer I went to a concert. I think it was 311. I think it was 311 in Sublime. And I remember being way up in the back of the, we were like on this grass section in the stadium. And, again, doing more of this and some of this. And I just got really out there. And I had this like vision that human beings, like our species as human beings, like we were just like these bugs. Like we were just these bugs, like ants. And life was totally meaningless, and God wasn't real, and we were just kind of here eating and reproducing, and then we die, and like that's it. And you know, I had been brought up as a Protestant Christian. I had been brought up going to church every weekend, so I was very religious as a kid. But throughout my teen years, I started to question religion. And this epiphany I had at this concert was so terrifying, because it just, in that moment, I just felt like, oh my God, like existence is so pointless. Like, why are we here? Like, what is the point of life? Like it just, because, you know, I think growing up, I just thought like humans are these holy beings, we're so divine, we're so intelligent, we're so conscious, God loves us, all this stuff. But it's like, well, no, we're just like any other species of animal. We're just like birds, we're just like bugs, we're just like deer, except we think more than animals. But at the end of the day, we are vulnerable just like an animal. We can still die. We still suffer loss. We still go hungry, we still get cold, we still have to deal with all these scary aspects of being a human, of being alive. And so, yeah, I went through college still just kind of questioning things. And, you know, this was back when, you know, when I'd go on YouTube, man, I was just searching movie clips and, you know, sports highlights and stuff. You know, I didn't know about spirituality or meditation or enlightenment or any of that stuff. I was just kind of lost in my own thoughts. And then, after college, I was living at my mom's house, and I was really just unhappy with who I was. I did not like who I was as a person. I felt very insecure. I felt like no one liked me. When I went to the bar with my friends, I always felt like girls wouldn't even pay me any attention. Guys wanted to beat me up. I just felt like a total loser. And I wanted to be confident. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be successful because I was broke. I was unhappy. I was struggling with OCD. I just wanted to change. And so I went on YouTube and I searched how to become more confident. And I watched a bunch of self-help videos. And one of the videos that came up was a video on meditation. And I had heard about meditation, but I didn't know what it was, how to do it. And it was actually from Leo Gura at actualize.org. It was his like a couple first videos on meditation, and I was like, wow, like this is just what I need. Like, you're telling me I can become more relaxed, more confident, more happy. I just became obsessed with meditation. I was doing it all the time because I just so desperately wanted to change. And then in 2015, actualize.org started putting out videos talking about enlightenment. And enlightenment was this concept that, again, I had heard before, but I didn't know what it was. And he was basically talking about how you can reach a state where you are no longer attached to your identity, where you no longer believe that you are a human being who is separate from reality. Like, you can get to a place where you just become consciousness, you just become awareness, and it's a blissful state where nothing bothers you. And I just was like, wow, like I need to become enlightened. So I was meditating like crazy, like hours a day. I did a strong determination meditation on my back porch. I was sitting still in a chair for 4 hours, not moving a single muscle. One of the craziest things I've ever done. And I started getting glimpses of what reality is and what consciousness is and what I am. And actualize.org started making more videos talking about, how to pierce the veil, how to realize that you are just consciousness. You are not this human. You are not this identity you've created. And I just started going deeper and deeper and deeper. I started doing all types of self-inquiry, self-questioning, asking, what am I? Who am I? What is reality? Just asking these questions obsessively. And that was 2015. So that was, 11 years ago. And, I've just kind of continued on this trajectory of just asking questions that most people don't ask. Let's face it, dude. The majority of people are not asking these questions that I'm asking. I think people are starting to wake up more and more, but I just feel like I want so badly to know the truth of reality, because our mind creates so many assumptions about reality, and assumptions and ideas and concepts, that is not the truth. The truth, I believe, cannot be explained in words. And maybe it's not even possible as a human being to know the truth of reality. I feel like monks that meditate for decades in total silence still haven't figured out what reality is. I don't know if we ever will as human beings. It might just be too much for our brains to understand. Thomas Campbell, who's a very famous meditator, very enlightened guy, he made this really interesting analogy that always stuck with me. He basically said, like, the bacteria in our stomach doesn't understand what food is. It doesn't understand where food is coming from. It doesn't understand ovens or microwaves or pizza. All the bacteria in our stomach knows is, okay, there's some matter coming down into this thing that I'm in, this stomach, and it's my job to break it down into nutrients. The bacteria will never understand what an oven is. It will never understand what a microwave is, because it's outside of the body. It's outside of its realm of understanding. And humans, I think, are a lot like that. Like, we're like that bacteria in the stomach that will just never fully understand what is going on in this reality. Like, what are the mechanics of this reality? How is this reality existing right now? And a lot of people don't even realize that they're alive. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. Like, do you understand that there is something happening right now in this moment, because the majority of people wake up, they think, okay, I have to brush my teeth, I have to get my coffee, I have to get in the car, I have to go to work. Then after work, I'm going to go watch some TV, and then I'm going to make dinner, and then I'm going to go to bed. But do they understand like that there is something happening right now in this moment? Like there is life happening. There is this dream that we're in. Like, what is this dream that we're in? Where is it coming from? Why is it here? How is this happening? And more importantly, how do I fit into this? And what I've realized through over a decade now of self-inquiry and meditation is that this whole idea of Ross, this whole concept of Ross, is an illusion. It is an assumption. I am the consciousness, I am the awareness behind this identity. I am the awareness, the consciousness observing the identity of Ross. But I am not only Ross. Like, on some level, yes, I am Ross, but just like a quarter that has two sides, I am Ross and I am not Ross. And I am interested in the part of me that is not Ross. I want to know what that is, because Ross, as a personality, I can be anything I want. I can be a fireman, I can be a singer, I can be funny, I can be lazy, I can be hardworking. It's just a mask. I can change my personality if I want. All right, that's cool. But what is actually the truth of me? I'm not this mask that I'm wearing. I am behind the mask. And there are all these different theories for what that is, that awareness, that's still just isness. What is that? I am so fascinated in knowing that. You might be asking yourself, why, dude? Why are you so interested in what that is? Like, why can't you just go through life and just be like everyone else and just get a job, go to work, make some money, whatever? I don't know. I just have always been different. I've just always thought differently than most people. I've always questioned things a lot more than most people. And it's just this crazy curiosity that has never left me ever since I was a kid at that sleepover. Like, I've just been super, super curious about what life is. And sure, there's an aspect of it that I want to know the truth because I want to be happy. I want to be in bliss. Who doesn't? If you ask anybody, hey, do you want to be in constant bliss all the time? Everybody would say yes. How do you get there? How do you get to that state of just pure bliss, pure just happiness to be alive? I'll tell you, it doesn't come from owning a nice car. It doesn't come from having a nice house. Sure, those things are cool. You can get some pleasure from them, but deep gratitude, deep appreciation, deep joy for just being alive, that is a special type of bliss. And I believe that can only come from meditation. That can only come from realizing your true nature as a living thing. And I believe you have to break your identity. You have to break your attachment to this identity that you've created. Because we are all wearing a mental mask. Our ego is our mask, but the ego is an illusion. The ego is a mental construct. It is not real. And I am fascinated and desperate, really, to know the true thing that I am behind that mask. Because I want to be in bliss. I want that so freaking bad. That's why I've been meditating for hundreds, if not thousands of hours for the last 10 years, because I just want to be in bliss. I want to just be able to sit in a field and just sob at the beauty of life, because life is so incredibly beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing you could ever see, just life. I was on YouTube the other day and there was a video. It was like one of those meditation music videos. It was like an hour long and it was just showing clips of space. It was showing clips of planets and asteroids and galaxies, all while this, 432 hertz frequency music was playing in the background. And I saw the images of these planets and these asteroids and these galaxies, and it gave me chills, because life is infinite. Infinite. You can go to the farthest corner of the galaxy and there will be life there. You can travel for millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of light years and there will be life there. Life is infinite. It never ends. And there are levels to life. So there's the surface level. If I look around, I see some trees, I see some grass. But when you take a blade of grass and you look at it under a microscope, there are infinite more levels to that blade of grass. There are cells. Those cells have compartments to them. The compartments of those cells have compartments to them. It just keeps going in every single direction. It's unbelievable, the complexity of life. It is insane. And I am so fascinated by it. I just want to drink it all up. Like a refreshing lemonade on a hot summer day. I just want to drink life up in its fullest. I want to see the beauty in everything. And you know why we can't? It's because of our freaking minds. Our minds are a great tool, but they are also our worst enemy because they take us out of the present moment. We are constantly worrying about the future, regretting the past, angry about something somebody said to us last week, worrying about what we have to do tomorrow. It's like there's a beautiful sunset in front of us, but there's this thick layer of fog in between us and the sunset. And we can't see that sunset. And that really bothers me. That really angers me. And I just want to get rid of that. And yeah, it's taken me a bunch of years, a lot of work to get to this point where I'm now starting to fully understand what I am. Some people get it a lot faster. Some people it takes them a longer time. But me, like, I'm finally starting to realize, like, I am not Ross. On some level, I'm Ross, but I'm not just Ross. I am so much more than that. And you can experiment with this stuff yourself right now. If you want to start poking holes in what you think reality is, if you want to start poking holes in this illusion, this veil in front of you, you can do a bunch of exercises. Just the most, I guess, direct, simple one you can do is just go out, find a quiet space, set a timer for 20 minutes, and just watch your thoughts. And every thought you have, ask the question, who is aware of this thought? Who is observing this thought? Every thought that comes by, ask that question. Who is observing, who is aware of this thought? And it might take you a couple sessions, but eventually you'll start to realize that you exist when thoughts stop. So you think you're the thinker. You think that you're up here somewhere in your head and you're thinking thoughts and you're observing thoughts and you're making thoughts and you are the thoughts. But when thoughts stop, you're still here. So what are you if you're not your thoughts? Because if you were your thoughts, then you would disappear when your thoughts stop. Those 5-second periods where you stop thinking, you're still here. You're still present. So what are you then? If you're not your thoughts, if you're not your mind, you're something else. But what is that thing? Well, you're just pure awareness. You're this field of consciousness. You're the observer of this field of consciousness. Another exercise you can do is start to play with your mind. Start to experiment with thoughts. Really look at thoughts. What are thoughts? Realize all the assumptions, all these mental assumptions you have in your life. So right now, imagine there's $10 million in your bank account. Imagine pulling out your phone or going on your computer, logging into your bank, and looking at your checking account, and $10 million is in that checking account, okay? And really picture that in your mind, okay? Now, when you open your eyes and I say, hey, is there $10 million in your checking account? You'll say no, right? Even though in your mind it felt so real. In your mind, yeah, there was $10 million in there, but when you wake up, no, you're crazy, man. There's not $10 million in my checking account. Okay. Now, I want you to picture your favorite hangout place when you were a kid. What was the place that you loved to hang out the most when you were a kid? Think about that in your mind right now. Think about that place. Close your eyes and imagine that place where you were. What, were you down by the pond? Were you at your buddy's house in his basement? Were you at the baseball field? Where were you? Picture that place in your mind right now. Okay, now open your eyes. That place that you just thought of, is that place real? And you might say, of course it is. And I say, well, how do you know that? You say, well, because I can see it in my mind. I can think about it right now. It's real. Well, wait a second. 2 minutes ago, you were thinking there was $10 million in your checking account, but now it's not there all of a sudden. What happened? So the $10 million isn't real, but this hangout place, it is real? They're both just thoughts. Where's your proof that either of them actually exist? And you can say, well, I'll drive down to that place right now and I'll show you. And it's like, all right, but it's not happening right now in this moment. So how can you drive down to that place, that hangout place, and show me that that place is real, but you can't drive to your bank right now and show me that there's $10 million in your checking account? Both of them are just mental constructs that you created. Both of them are just visualizations that you had in your mind, but one is real and one isn't. Also, how do you know that you have a back to your head? Have you ever seen the back of your head before? You can feel something back there, but what does it look like? How do you know you have a face? Have you ever seen your face? Or have you only seen an image in the mirror or a picture of your face? If life is a dream, if we are living in this dream reality right now, just like our dreams at night when we fall asleep and we have these dreams, that means that we are giving existence to everything around us. So it's like that old famous monk saying, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? And that is a question that people have been trying to answer for a long time, and no one can. Because if you're not there to hear that, see that tree fall, how do you know that there's even a tree there? Again, these are all mental assumptions. We assume so much about life. But where is your proof? Proof. With a capital P. Where is your proof right now that any of those things out there that you can't see are real? When you have a dream at night that you're sitting on a tube on a lake and the dream feels so real, you can feel the water on your, you can feel the water with your feet and your hands. You feel yourself floating, and you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, that was such a cool dream. I was on a nice calm lake and it felt so good. Where did that lake go? You had a dream about it. It was so real, but then you woke up and it's gone. Well, if life is a dream, then do the same mechanics of your dream world apply to reality. So let's take that hangout place that you were thinking about earlier. Does that place exist when you are not there? Or does it only exist when you give it its existence? Just like in your dream, the lake did not exist until you gave it its existence. I know this stuff sounds trippy, man. Like, I know to some people I'm going to sound like I'm insane, but I'm not. I'm just asking questions. I'm just challenging these mental assumptions that we have. And yeah, some people, they're just going to shrug this off and say, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about. You've lost it, man. But if you actually do even just 10 minutes of meditating or do 20 minutes of the mental exercises I just said, you will start to see, yeah, what is going on here? You might not get it right away, but there will be something inside you that just starts to say, you know what? Yeah, things are not really what they seem. And it might not take 20 minutes, man. It might take 5 minutes. It might take a couple days. Everyone's different, but just because you've never experienced something doesn't mean it's not true. So people will shrug this off, but for the people out there, the deep meditators, the deep spiritual seekers, we know that there's more to this life. And I can't speak for everyone, but I'm going to continue going down this road because I want to know the truth of reality. No matter what, no matter how long it freaking takes me, no matter what I have to do, I want to know the truth. And there's so much more I could say here, man. There's so much more I could say. There's so many assumptions we make about this world. But those are probably going to be for another video. This one's already pretty chunky. So, yeah, keep asking questions, guys. Keep meditating. And hopefully one day we can know the real truth. That'll be interesting.